say to your soldiers, قال طلعني في حمار. He said, first, put me on a donkey and face me behind when the poo-poo comes out of the donkey. Face my face right there. And tell the soldiers to announce, walk with me through the streets of the city, and tell the soldiers, من جالس هذا وآكل هذا وصاحب هذا. He said, whoever sits with this man, whoever eats with this man, whoever sits and drinks with this man, فإنه يحبس. He's going to be in prison. And tell the soldiers to announce, إني دجال, that I am a liar. He said, whoa, man, they have a lot of anger. They have a lot of issue. So he said, is that your wish? So Muhammad, this man, this young man, all night long he did not sleep. He thought about, how can I change my life from the bottom rock? How can I be someone of a status? How can I be someone important? So in the morning he woke up and he said, guess what? To his friends, I'm done with this donkey. I'm going to sell it. So he went and he sold the donkey. He sold the donkey and he signed himself in the police. He went to the police department and he became a police officer. And he worked hard. He worked hard. And then he became the chief of the police in Andalus. He became the chief of the police of the city. And then, bit by bit, he started becoming closer to the Khalifa, going to the palace of the Khalifa. And he was gifted in a way that he can write biography of the people. So he started writing the biography of the wife of the Khalifa. So she loved it. She loved someone writing about her. Bit by bit, he became very close to her. And he came closer to the family until the family and the Khalifa brought him closer to him. Sadly enough, the Khalifa died. He left a little boy to rule Al-Andalus. دولة الأموية إذا تذكرون دولة الأموية قديما. So the advisors, the counselors, they said, who should rule? Who should have the authority of this young Amir? Who should have the authority of the government? We need someone other than the ruling family because we don't want them to overthrow this young man. So they chose three. One of them was this man, Muhammad. So Muhammad, he worked hard for the government, for the ruling family. He was very loyal. He worked hard and he defended the boundaries of the country. His time became, the Dawla al-Andalus became very well respected. To make long story short, they appointed him to be the guardian of the Khalifa. And he sat on the throne of the Khalifa. When he became, first time that he sat on the throne of the Khalifa, guess what he did? He remembered his friends. He remembered those who did not have any ambition. Those who did not aim high, who were always saying, you're going to be Hamad for the rest of your life. So he said to the soldiers, go to the downtown of the city. You will find two old men working on donkeys. Bring them to me. So they went and they found them and they brought them to the Khalifa. فقال أتذكر من أنا? Do you remember who I am? قالوا والله نذكره. By Allah, we remember you. We thought you forgot about us. He said, how can I forget you? So Al-Wuzara, that the elite of the family, the country, they all were there. So he said, تقدموا, come closer. So they came closer, the two men. فقال الأول, he said to the first one, do you remember the night when we were young, and I asked you if I ever become a Khalifa, to wish for something. قال وكيف أنسى? How can I forget that? You were daydreaming. He said, why don't you tell everybody what was your wish? He said, I wish for a beautiful garden, in it, beautiful palace. فقال يا كاتب, give him that. And he said, what else? He said, and I wish for 100 horses. He said, Ya Katib, give him that. And he said, what else? He said, I wish for 100 girls, but one is enough now. I'm old, alhamdulillah. One is enough. Just give me one. قال لا والله, 100. And he turned to the other one. قال أتذكر أمنيتك? Do you remember what you wished for? فقال لا عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. It's okay. We can forget it. We don't have to remember that. He said, no, I want everybody to know what you wished for. فقال فحق الصحبة. I ask you about the friendship that we had. I want you to forget that. قال لا والله. I want you to tell me what you wish for. And he said, then, I wish for you to place me on a donkey and to face my face and its behind, and to announce to everybody that whoever eats, drinks, sits, converse with me, they should be in prison. I wish that you would announce to everybody that I am a Dajjal, I am a liar. And he said, grant him his wish. Grant him his wish. He did not forgive him. This qissa, this story, this is just, it is not in Sahih al-Bukhari, it is not in the Quran, definitely. It is not in the Sunan Abi Dawud, but this is one of the stories that I want to start this talk with. What do we learn from this? We learn from this that every one of us have himar. Every one of us have something that they think this is it. This is the ultimate lifestyle. This is where the cap ends. This is where my life achievement should end. And if you want to move forward, you got to get rid of that mentality. You got to always say, I can do better. I can be better. I can achieve better. What did Allah call you? Allah called you as Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah said, Kuntum khayra ummah ukhrijat linnas. You are the best nation that Allah ever created for mankind. You're supposed to be the shepherd, not the sheep. You and I, as Muslims, we're supposed to be the shepherd, not the sheep. We're supposed to lead, not follow. We're supposed to achieve, not consume. We're supposed to be the ones paving the way of success for the rest of the world. In North America, and I always mention this, and probably you hear me reminding the Muslims this, in North America, we live a life of individualism. You have your own little bubble, you have your own family, you have your own kid, you have your own children or kids, and that's the limitation. And if you are from India and Pakistan, you want your son to be a doctor or an engineer. If he is a lawyer, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, he's useless. If he's a accountant, he's not that great of achievement. He's a plumber or he's done. That's a North American. Every Indian and Pakistani family, they want their kids to be a medical doctor. That's the achievement. It's good. As an individual, that's good. But as a society, according to the studies that was done in 1999 by American University, they said that 48% of the medical doctors doctors in the United States of America, they are from India and Pakistan, 48%. Now, if you ask yourself the question, now we have 48% of the doctors in USA and in Canada, how many hospitals do we have? How many hospitals do we have in America? 0. Yet, we have only from India and Pakistan, 48% of the medical doctors are from those two countries. And most of them are Muslims. So, what kind of nation is this? That you have 48% of medical or doctors, yet the whole community, over 9 million Muslims in the USA, we could not establish one single hospital. أليس هذا عين العجز? Right? I travel around the Muslim world. This is the, and again, I'm not sugarcoating this, but this is the only country that I know who said, we're not going to send our children to other nations so they can, brainwash them and bring them. No. We want to bring the universities here. So the boy, the citizen boy, anybody who can come, who wants to go to university, he can go right here and go home and eat his mother's meal. There's a university called Calgary, University of Calgary. Are you guys familiar with that? I was the chaplain. I was the one who was there. They have a branch right here. I was like, subhanAllah, when I saw the logo of the University of Calgary, I was like, Calgary is right here? Now, that is intelligence. That is called paving the way. Everywhere else in the Muslim country who have the capacity to educate their children outside of their country, they send their children outside. So those children, they don't just come back with degrees, but they come back with lifestyle that contradicts the original, the authentic, ethnic, or the original lifestyle. As a Muslim society, we should be always, kuntum khayra ummah ukhrijat lin-nas. We should always aim high. The Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what did he taught us? What did he teach us? He taught us this. He said, المؤمن القوي خير كمل عباد الله وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير. المؤمن القوي, the strong mu'min, is better, more beloved, more liked by Allah than a weak mu'min. Both of them, there's khayr in there. So what is strength today? You don't need to be physically strong to be a mu'min qawi. But today, knowledge, information, skills, that is the strength that we need today. That's the strength. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا تعجز. He said, don't give up. Don't submit to the weakness of our human nature. لا تعجز. واستعن بالله ولا تعجز. استعن بالله ولا تعجز. Don't say, don't give up and say, I can't do anything. The system doesn't allow me. The society doesn't allow me. But you gotta aim high. Let me ask you a question. I'm talking to the little bit older generation. I'm gonna ask you, far left question. Who do you remember when you were growing up? The best American singer. Who was he? Come on, admit it. Now stop. Don't say Sudais, definitely not. Don't say Hudayf, don't say definitely not. Don't say, who was the best? Michael Jackson. To be in Allah. Make Tawbah, brothers and sisters. Just kidding. Michael Jackson was the king. Michael Jackson. Have you ever thought about, have you ever studied his work ethics? Have you ever read how precise this man was? Ali bin Abi Talib used to say, Al-hikmatu dhalatul mu'min. When you see a wisdom, when you see something beneficial, don't say it came from a kafir, but as a mu'min you should go after. Do you know how hard this man used to work? It wasn't just a musician that was, earned millions of dollars. This man, he used to be so precise. Every tune, every play, every movement, every gesture. It was very, very well studied. Years before the album comes out. He was a perfectionist. And he made it. He made it. And that's what we need. We don't need Michael Jackson to tell us, but that is what we need. When you do amal, you got to perfect it. You got to say, I want to be the best of the best in my field. لذلك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في صحيح البخاري, what did he say? إن الله يحب إذا عمل أحدكم عملا أن يتقنه. He said, Allah wants you, when you do action, when you do something, to perfect it. Perfect it. Not just, I'm working for somebody, let it go. It's not my business. I don't have to die. I don't have to kill myself on this. No, as a Muslim, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. You know how many people he mentioned? He said the ruler is a ra'i, and he will be questioned about his ra'iyah. The father is a ra'i, and he will be questioned about his family. The mother, the wife, is a ra'i, and she will be questioned about her household. And the worker is a ra'i. Worker is a ra'i, and he will be questioned about his responsibility. So when you work for somebody, you don't say, well, he's not watching, he's not looking, he's not here, because Allah is looking. So you gotta perfect that. That's how you do it. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, did he have high ambition? That, by the way, when I ask you a question, I know the answer. Don't look at me like you're someone like a mo. I need you to talk to me. Rasulullah, did he have high ambition? Yes. He did. He did. He said, I don't want my ummah on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. I don't want my ummah to be last to be judged, even though they were the last nation. I want them to be first. You're gonna be before Qawm Nuh. You're gonna be before Qawm Hud. You're gonna be before Qawm Salih, Qawm Thamud, Shu'aib. Why? Even though they came before us, how come you deserve that? Because Rasulullah fought for you. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, I don't want my ummah to be last. No. I want my ummah to be judged first. And he didn't say, Ya Nuh, take your nation first and let them enter Jannah. He said, no one will enter Jannah before my ummah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That shows he wants us to be first, not last. He wants us to perfect things, not to just do it haphazardly. He wants us to be perfect. Ulul Azm. How many, the number of Ulul Azm, the Rusul Ulul Azm, how many were there? 5. Nuh. What's next? Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi. Now, the Anbiya and the Rusul, they're like this, like a pyramid, muthallath. But there's one spot that can only be given to one person. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, I want that spot. He didn't say, no, 950 years in da'wah. I was only da'wah for 23 years. Why don't you take it? Ibrahim, you made hijrah. You left your forefathers. You left your wife and children in Palestine. Why don't you take it? Musa, Allah gave you so much. Bani Israel struggled so much. Why don't you take it? But he said, no, I want it. I want that spot. I want al-wasila. And that's why he said for his ummah, listen, he's telling us, he's encouraging us, and he's saying, listen to me. I want you to pray for me, for Allah to give me that spot. فَإِنَّهَا لَا يَنْبَغِي. It is not befitting except for one servant. And he says, every time you hear the adhan, repeat after the mu'adhin. The mu'adhin says, Allahu Akbar. We say, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la, ashhadu an la. Hayya ala salat. At the end, what do we say? Allahumma rabbi hadhihi da'wati tam. That is the spot. No other prophet can be over it. No one. And even us, he said, when you ask in Jannah, I've seen this brother, mashallah, he was praying in the masjid. He said, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-jannah. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-jannah. And I said to him after he finished the dua, Akhi, why don't you ask Allah al-firdaus al-a'la? He said, Ba'id hadi, mashallah. That's too far. Whoa. I said, no. Ask for firdaus al-a'la. It is the highest place. And your messenger is telling you, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ الْجَنَّةِ when you ask Allah for Jannah, don't just ask for any Jannah. Don't say, Ya Allah, just take me to Jannah, I'll be happy. He say, no, ask for Firdaus al-A'la. That's the highest place in Jannah. Why would you go to any Jannah? Ask for Firdaus al-A'la. And that is how we should be. I want to kind of show you, Ibadallah. I'll talk more than I anticipated, but I want to go over a few things that can make us achieve high ambition. What should we do to become people of high ambition? What should we do? First, al-ilm. No. Ummah, nation that relies on other nations is a weak nation. Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if we don't put our act together and be independent, self-sufficient ummah, then we are weak ummah. So we need ilm. And by the way, a lot of you assume when I speak about ilm, I'm talking about fiqh, true. I'm talking about hadith, true. I'm talking about Quran, true. But that's not what I'm talking about only. But I'm also talking about the worldly ilm. I'm talking about, I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to be a nurse. I want you to be, a media person, a reporter. I want you to be a technician. I want you to be a someone that can produce something for this ummah. You can't afford, we cannot afford to be consumers. We can't. As Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we cannot afford to be consumers. We have everything that everyone else wants. We have the number. You know the number of Muslims? 2.1 billion. 2.1 billion. So we don't need anybody else to come over and aid us, but we need us to depend on ourselves. We are the richest ummah. Where are we located? In the Middle East, in Africa. We are the richest. Look at the Africans. I can say this and get away with it. Africans, look. Do you know how rich Africa is? Do you know? Where did the diamond come from? Diamond, where did it come from? Africa. Most of the gold, where did it come from? Africa. So why are we starving in Africa? Because they taught us you gotta rely on someone else. You gotta depend on someone else. And that's the wrong impression. When do you see in the West, in Canada, in America, when every time, and I'm not talking about to offend anybody, but every time I see ad for Africa in North America, what do I see? I see a little African boy or little African girl with a big belly and tiny legs, mashallah. I don't know how they did that. It must be a Photoshop or something like that. And then I see they have a running nose, nasty running nose. And they're crying and they're holding a piece of dry bread, and the flies of the universe, all the dhubab ala wajhi, on his face, as though the dhubab could not find anywhere else. And they say, donate for Africa. Donate for the kids in Sierra Leone. Donate the kids in. And then, as a little kid in Africa, what do you see? You don't want to go back to Africa. They don't, because I have 6 kids. If I tell them, I'm going to kill you all, I'll take you to Africa, they say, let us pray janazah, let us all die. They rather die than go back to Africa. Why? Because that is the perception. They showed us our weakness, but they never showed us our strength. So as a Muslim, you gotta be strong. You gotta rely. So ilm is what will lead you. And I'm very glad that you have university, all different type education coming to you at home. You don't need to travel. That's a net. And ilm, again, يعني this is, someone said, يا أخي هذه من علم الدنيا فما بالك بعلم الآخرة. When you think, yeah, علم الآخرة, absolutely. That's the basic, that foundation of your deen. But you know Surah Al-Qasas, you know, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when he talked about Qarun, إِنَّ قَارُونَ كَانَ مِنْ قَوْمِ مُوسَى فَبَغَى عَلَيْهِ. And Allah gave him the wealth. But when the mu'mineen saw him, what did they say to him? They said, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Nobody is saying, sit in a masjid, you know, and say, Ya Allah, give me a rizq, Ya Allah. And that's not how Allah works. Allah says, learn, educate yourself, earn your halal income, and be independent person. That's what we need to be. You know, we need to be someone who says, we are who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be. Now the second thing that is, we have to strive. We have to strive. We have to strive. When I say we have to strive, I mean, yani, subhanallah, I don't know how to put this. And I will, inshallah, conclude it. I don't know how to put this. Strive means you get out of your comfort zone. You get out of your comfort zone. When you get out of your comfort zone, you can accomplish something. Look at the story that I told you initially. His comfort zone was to work on that donkey every day. Go back, deliver, parcels, deliver people, come home, sit right here, eat, chit-chat with your friends. Do it. No, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to put yourself in a position when you're no longer comfortable. Worst thing for Muslim is when you become accustomed to the same thing. You repeat the same thing. It becomes routine. It becomes, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing every day. You know what happens? It kills your ambition. You know what happens? It kills your creativity. You know what happens? You rely on that system. You don't get out of your comfort zone because you don't want to struggle. But guess what? Nothing comes easy without struggle. Do you think Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he said in Medina or Mecca, and he said, Ya ayyuhan nas, qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihu, if you want, you can go to Jannah or go to Jahannam. No, he didn't do that. But he struggled. He walked out of the city. He said, Quraysh are inside the city of Mecca. Let me receive the delegation. Let me receive the stripes coming from outside. He went out of his comfort zone, out of his way. That's what we need to do. Number 3, see these little kids that we have? Teach them they are the best of the best, because they are. Teach them. Don't teach them our defeat. Don't teach them. You know what the Sahaba used to teach, the young Sahaba and the Tabi'een? You know what they used to start with their children? They used to start with Tafsir Surah Al-Anfal and Surah Al-Tawbah. Surah Al-Anfal shows Allah send malaika to help us. Surah Al-Tawbah, it gives izzat al-mu'min. So teach them. And when they feel that Islam has the izzah, Islam has honor, then the children will say, I'm a Muslim. If you go to public schools in Canada and you ask this kid, what are you? He will say, I'm Canadian. Okay, you don't look like Canadian. Okay, you look like a Somali with the big ears. Okay, so alhamdulillah. So, what else? What is your religion? I'm a Muslim. Yeah, with humility. We don't want that. We want when someone says, what are you? I'm a Muslim. That's what you want. Izzah. But why your child is not feeling the izzah? Because the ambition of the parents became limited. We became judging ourselves based on our ability and capacity. That is very restrictive. And that is restrictive. I want these children, when they come out to the public, feel so proud, head high, aim high, and say, I want to be like Imam al-Bukhari. I want to be, like Imam Muslim. I want to be like Hafsa radiyallahu. I want to be like Darda, the young lady who became an alim. I want to be like, Bint Abd al-Rahman, Hafsa, Bint Sirin. And I have to say, my dear sisters sitting in the sides and the back, that is what the mother really shines through. That is, was it off all the time? I was talking to myself all day long. But that is, talking to the mothers, that's where you shine. That's where you really shine. And that's where we need you most. That's what we need the mothers most. I always say to the sisters, a lot of the mothers, they think, especially the way we were raised I'm originally from Somalia, the way we were raised in Somalia, that if you have boy, mashallah. If you have girl, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And that's why even in the Arab country, like if you have a daughter, if you have a son, you take the kunya of your son immediately. Right? You take the kunya of your son immediately. What's your name? Abu Abdullah. Where's Abdullah? Right here, little brother. MashaAllah, right here. But if you have a daughter, what is your name? Abu Abdullah. Where's Abu Abdullah? Jai inshallah. He's coming on the way inshallah. Do you have any kids? Yes. What are their names? Aisha, Fatima. Are you not Abu Aisha? La ya akhi, inshallah. العكس. Mothers, sisters are more important than us brothers. Like it or not. I know some of you may not even walk with me tonight, but the truth is, they're more important than us. You know why? Now let me ask you this. If Allah loves something, He gives to whom He loves most. Am I right? Allah gave the Risala to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Who was the first person that Allah gave Islam after Rasulullah? Khadija. Was that a sign? If women were less than men and men were better for the deen to receive, then Allah would have given the deen to a man first. But He gave to Khadija radiyallahu anha. He gave to Khadija. After this deen, the first and the most precious thing that we have is our lives. And the ultimate thing that you can do for this deen is to give your life for the deen. Who was the first person who gave his or her life for the deen of Allah? Who was he? Was that Hamza? Come on, ya Rageah, تكلموا. Sumayya. So the first shahada was a female. And the first shahada ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, was a female. And the first shahada fi sabilillah was a female. What does that tell us about women? What does that tell us about women? They are the core, they are the backbone of this deen. If they are corrupted, the whole nation would be corrupt. And if they are good and sound, the ummah would be sound. And no one can break that ummah. That's what Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari wa Muslim, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال كانت أول فتنة بني إسرائيل كانت في نساء. The first fitna of Bani Israel was in their women. So what we say, these mothers, when they become true mothers and they teach their children, teach them عزة المؤمن, then that is when we have children who will be heroes, would be leaders. Hind bint Utbah, the lady who cut Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib open, tried to chew his liver. You know, when Muawiyah was born, when he was born, a lady came to him and she said, this young man, he is going to be the leader of the Quraysh. This young man, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, he is going to be the leader of the Quraysh. You know what Hind said? She said, what a loser. What a loser. I don't want him to be the leader of the Quraysh. I want him to lead all the Arabs. I want him to be the king of the Arabs. Muawiyah, he became Khalifa after Al-Hasan bin Abi Ali bin Abi Talib. Look at that lady. Even she was not a Muslim, but she said, I don't want this little boy to rule Mecca. I don't want him to rule Quraysh. I want him to rule the Arab, be the king of the Arab. That is what we need from the mothers. That is what we need from you. To tell your little boy, you know what? You're going to be a leader. You're going to be a big, most powerful man on the planet. You're going to be this. You know, I tell everybody, you know, I always tell, it's funny, I have a little boy by the name Ilyasin. Ilyasin, you know, I tried when he was growing up, not now, but when he was growing up, trying to keep him away from the gadgets, from TV, from this. And his entertainment was when I come home, I would tell him stories. I would tell him. That was his entertainment. So he would not sleep until I come home sometimes and say, I'm waiting for Baba. You know, it's okay. Baba is coming at the masjid. Anyway, but he had this favorite story. And this story was the story of Bilal. Bilal bin Rabah. I taught him how Bilal bin Rabah, there was this big rock on his chest, and he used to say, Ahadun Ahad. He would scream and he would never give up. And he said, Daddy, why? Why couldn't he just give up? And I said, because Muslims don't give up. Muslims don't give up. You know. And then we come and we play fight. You know, when you have a little boy and you wrestle with the boy, and then I will sit on him. And his little boy, he's 5 years old, he would be holding me back. And he says, Ahadun Ahad, Bilal, Ahadun Ahad. And I'm sitting on him lightly, and I'm pressing on him. I say, no, give up, boy. And he said, Muslims don't give up. Ahadun Ahad. And then he pretends that he's throwing me off, and I jump. He said, Allahu Akbar. I said, this is not here. Don't say Allahu Akbar, Allah. Because he remembers. He remembers. Till today, he remembers. And every time someone says, my name is Bilal, he says, oh, he never gave up. Muslims don't give up. That's what we need from the mothers. We need mothers to raise children like Ahmad ibn Hanbal, raised by his mother. Imam al-Shafi'i, raised by his mother only. Imam al-Bukhari, raised by his mother only. You know, even Malik, Imam Malik, when he was a little boy, his mother dressed him up, 8 years old. She dressed him like a little sheikh, little alim. The ulama used to dress differently. You know, little imama, you know, little sandals. She washed him up, she cleaned him up, she put a mist on him, and she said, boy, now go and sit under Rabi'at al-Ra'i. That was the alim of Medina at that time. Go and sit and learn. And she said to him, فَتَعَلَّمْ مِنْ خُلُقِهِ فَتَعَلَّمْ مِنْ أَدَبِهِ قَبْلَ عِلْمِ. Learn from his manners before his knowledge. Sit next to him. Behave like an alim. You're only 8 years old, yet behave like an alim. I was the mother. So what we need, if you want to change this nation, don't let your kids be raised by, you know, iPad, iPhone, TVs, and things like that. That will not raise your children. That will make them out. You know, that will make them, you know, ashy and soft and, you know, not really living with the reality. He'll be living with that little world, you know, that little window. That would be his world. That would be her world. Make sure your children, they study the seer of the people of the past, how they struggled. Let them study how people, you know, only few of the Arab went to Indonesia and Malaysia, and because of their character, all Indonesia and Malaysia became Muslim. You know, because of 2 Sahabi, Yemen became Muslim. That's what we need. That's what we need. And I want you to think this lecture was not an entertainment. And it was not for just for you to come and listen to someone speak. But I want you to take lessons. And that is, get out of your little bubble. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your way. Make sure you achieve something that is great. And don't ever live for yourself. Live for others. And remember, those who live for themselves, they die while they're still alive. They die while they're still alive because you're only living for yourself. But those who live for others, they are alive while they're still in the grave. They are alive after they died hundreds, but thousands of years. Remember Imam al-Bukhari. How many of you don't know Imam al-Bukhari? Everybody knows Imam al-Bukhari. But we talk to him about as though he's alive today. But he's not. He's not. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. I will stop here. Jazakumullah khair. And we'll leave. You have a question or comment?
So, Sheikh, would you like to take the questions here still, or would you like to sit and be again?
I'll take the question.
So this Sheikh will stand and take questions. Like I said earlier, except for the front row here, you actually have access to a microphone on the back of the or the chair in front of you. So you'll just see those black buttons. So if you have a question, we can start, and just raise your hand so we know who actually pressed what button, and we know where the question is coming from too. Jazakumullah khairan. Questions, comments, corrections, contributions? Sheikh? I think everybody understood. Okay, yes, right there. The microphone is right there.
Excellent question. One of my teachers used to say when you give a lecture, if nobody has a question, it's one of the two. Either, they understood everything and they need no clarification, or they understood nothing. So which one are you guys? Okay. So, see here, I understand what the young lady is saying. People misunderstood ambition and وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. Musara. They understood you gotta press on somebody, you gotta crush somebody, you gotta step on somebody to achieve what you want. But that's incorrect. There's enough resources for you, for you, for you, and for you, and also for me. There's enough. You don't need to put someone down to be elevated. Bil'aks, the messenger of Allah is teaching us, مَنْ تَوَاضَعَ لِلَّهِ رَفَعَ. If you lower yourself for the sake, not out of weakness, not out of, you have no other option, but you lower yourself for the sake of Allah, Allah will elevate you. Allah will raise you high. And that's what it's all about. So when you see someone, your competition should be decent. Your competition should be decent. Look at Mu'adh bin Jabal radiyallahu anhu and Abi Sa'id al-Khudri. These two Sahaba, they were sent to Al-Yaman. They were sent to Al-Yaman. And they had ambition of achieving a certain number of ibadah every night. But they went to different directions. They used to meet periodically. So what they used to do, they used to come and examine each other's ibadah. And they used to say, how many rak'ah did you pray? Say 8. Wallahi, I prayed 8. How many witr? 3. I prayed 3 too. How many juz? 5. I read 5 too. And they used to compete with one another like that. Until sometimes, yaqul, they became equal in everything. Everything. How many rak'ah, how many juz, how many shahad, how many. And then Mu'adh bin Jabal said, Wallahi inni la ahtasibu nawmati kama ahtasibu qawmati. Look at that. He said, by Allah, I consider my sleep ibadah. I consider my sleep as ibadah. I consider what I do during my waking hours ibadah. So that's a competition. So what you need to do, my dear sisters and brothers, also, for you to achieve something, you don't have to crush anybody. You got to do your thing, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, but you got to also not be naive. Can't be naive because not everybody has pure heart as you do, but you got to be خُذُوا حِذْرَكُمْ. You got to be aware, you got to be vigilant, you got to be concerned, you got to know exactly what you want, you got to know your limit, and you move towards your goal. However, if in the process there's something haram, including, belittling someone, fabricating stories for someone to be removed, then that's haram. And Allah would not bless you, and you may achieve something from this dunya, but you will not succeed for long. Now, next, inshallah.
Sheikh, if you don't mind, actually received some questions, we have some of them up. Okay. So this question here, it says, what is the difference between qada and choices that one makes freely? For example, when something really bad or good happens to someone, is it us to blame because that was our choice, or was it just destiny?
Everything that happens to us, everything that happens to us, it happens because of the qadr of Allah. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَنْ يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. Everything that we do, everything happens to us is because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decree. Also, when something happens to you, it could be, Asma bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu anha, she used to get headaches, and she used to hold her head like this, and she used to say, هذا مما كسبت يداي ويعفو عن كثير. هذا مما كسبت يداي ويعفو عن كثير. So, when something happens, you don't have to consider what happened as a bad thing. It is not necessarily bad. Otherwise, the prophets and the messengers of Allah would never be tested. They would never be put in a difficult situation, and the life for them would have been smooth because they are the closest people to Allah. Yet the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ashaddu an-nas al-bala." He said the people who have the most trial, the most test, are the anbiya, and then those who will follow under them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله. حتى يقول, until the messenger and those who will follow with him, they will say, when is the victory of Allah is coming. So when something happens to you, that does not necessitate that it is bad. Maybe it's bad for you at that moment, but it may not be. Let me give you, and please, don't take this the wrong way, but look what happened to you in New Zealand, right? When that happened, when 50 Muslims were killed, we were crying. We were crying. And, in the sujood, we're making dua for those Muslims. But we forgot what Allah said in the Quran, عَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. You may dislike something, and it is indeed good for you. But now, look, we lost 50 Muslimin, mashallah, Ahl al-Salah. And I guarantee you they're all from Ahl al-Jannah. Inshallah, all Ahl al-Jannah. Because they died in the masjid. And they were killed. But look, how many people accepted Islam? How many people? I have a friend, his name is John Fontaine, who flew from Guyana, he's from UK. He flew from there, and he said, Saeed, come, I need your help. I said, what do you need my help for? He said, I'm getting tired of giving shahada. People coming to Islam, hundreds of them. They're one of the brothers, subhanAllah. I wish you can see how Islam turned in that country. We lost 50, but I guarantee you, we gained hundreds of them. So when something happens, don't always assume it's bad. Not always. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you with something, don't say, why Allah is testing me? I prayed my fajr, I did not do anything wrong, my rizq is halal, I'm wearing hijab, I'm wearing niqab, I'm reading Quran. Why am I tested? Guess what? Rasulullah was tested more than you. Every Nabi was tested more than you. So don't assume that as something bad, but assume Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be near to Him, to be closer to Him. Why? When you are tested, that is expiate all your sins bi-idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So here's a question. You've already spoken about your son, Yasin, and you talked about that beautiful stories in Bilal, but since we have children here in this auditorium tonight, what advice do you have for them?
For the children?
Yes.
or the parents of
I
children.
think the parents need more advice than the children.
That's right.
I'll give them both. I'll give the parents advice first. I want you to understand. Whatever your child is, most likely it's because of you. Whatever your child is, yes, يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت. It happens. Nuh alayhi salam, his son, قال إنه ليس من أهل إنه عمل غير صالح. However, the natural state is كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. Every child is born in the state of fitra. Which means when the child was given to you was as pure as this. Was pure. يقول النبي فأبواه, his parent يهودان أو ينصران أو يمجسان. It is indeed the parent who was shaped that child. So my nasiha to the parent is, your children do not learn by listening most. They learn by watching most. So if your child sees your own TV, you come home and you're flipping the channels and you know every player in whatever team that you support, and you watch every league in every country, and you say to your child, put that thing down, it's not good for you. Put your iPad down, put your phone down, it's not good for you. That is contradiction. That's contradiction. So the best thing to do for your child, be a role model. Show him what Islam is. Don't lecture him what Islam is all about. Show him the way. Don't direct him the way. If you walk the walk, he will walk with you. But if you just say, go there while I'm sitting here, he said, why don't you come with me? So what I would say to the parent, you are responsible of your child. And whatever happens, mostly is because of you. When your child was born, never knew how to lie, never knew how to cheat, never knew how to deceive. But he learned. Either you gave that information directly to him, or you facilitated by putting him in a difficult situation. You give your child iPad, and you say, I want you to be decent and honest. I want you not to waste your time. I want you, but internet is right, the whole world, not even this world, there's another world. Virtual world, that doesn't even exist. One of the kids, wallahi, I said, he was talking about something called anime. I said, okay, what is anime? He said, oh, it's animation. I said, okay. And there were two kids were talking about a particular show. And I said, how many episodes are those? He said, the one that I watched was 750. I said, ya mujrim, 750? And he said, and each episode, how long is it? I thought it was maybe 3 minutes. He said, 25 minutes. And he said, you watch 750 times 25 minutes. When do you do your Quran, your Salah, your homework? When do you spend time with your siblings, with your family? When do you live life? So that is what I will say. And the kids, and you boys and girls, you also, if you see someone doing something which is not right, don't follow suit. Don't follow them. Do the right things, and that is sufficient for you, bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now,
those are the questions that I had that we sent to me, but if anybody else in the room, yes?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
alaykum salam.
Jazakallah khair, inshallah. Sheikh, I need to ask you regarding those who want to put obstacle on the mankind when they aim for high ambition. Usually they use the limitation of the ability of the mankind. For example, they will say, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. So why you cannot be on your limitation? Why you are trying to do something beyond your limitation? So how we can inconsistently or consistently make these two, the human's ability and the ambition that everybody has to think about?
First of all, the same ayah can be used against them. When Allah said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما آتاها. Who said I cannot do this? That's the false claim. That person who's saying I can't do this is the one who's claiming I'm putting shackles on me. So he's the one who's playing mind games with me. The truth of the matter is, I can do whatever you can do. And when I said I want to be a medical doctor, I want to be a businessman, I want to be a decent, I want to be an alim, I want to be a mufti, who said I can't be that? I can't, that's not true. So anybody who tells you that you yukallifu Allahu nafsan, you should say, you don't know my limit. You don't know my limitation. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving me this opportunity, that is an evidence, that's evidence that I can do it. Otherwise, why would Allah present it to me? And that's how you should respond. I don't think that people like that, you should not waste your time with them because they want to mentally enslave you. They want to make sure that you can't do what either would make you ahead of them or make you compete with them, or they themselves don't have the zeal and the ambition to do it, so they want everybody to be in the bottom rock. No.
Any more questions for the Sheikh? Where is this coming from?
Yeah, one,
Okay,
two,
you have a
three.
microphone? So one, and then we'll go to the brother there, and then right there in front.
How exactly can you live for other people but still be on top of the
Right, excellent, excellent. There's two things. There's deen and there's dunya. When it comes to deen, you are first responsible of yourself. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُم. Allah says, take care of yourself and your family. So first, you got to take care of yourself. So when it comes to ibadah, when it comes to taqwa, when it comes to reward of earning from Allah, when it comes to salah, you take care of yourself first. And then when you are taking care of that, then you overflow to those who are closest to you. So that's how it works, right? For example, I'll give you an example. There's a row, there's a salah, and you have someone, there's a space in front of you. This is ibadah. This time, you don't say, my father is here, my brother is here, my sheikh is here. You take that spot and don't let anybody take it because that it will bring you closer to Allah. So what I mean, that is how it will take care of your ibadah. When it comes to dunya, number one, you have to understand your rizq, my rizq, and everybody's rizq was already written 50,000 years before the creation of the universe. Kama fi Sahih Muslim. So nothing that you have, that I can have. And nothing that I have, you will never have. So that is given. Secondly, you see the extra time that you have. So you school, you concentrate on your schooling. You don't say, I'm not gonna do my work, but I'm gonna help somebody who did, who's doing a course that I did in the past. No, you concentrate as well on your need of that. But we have extra time, and that is when you should give it to someone who deserves that. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned the reward of those who would help others. Go out of their way, and they will try to help. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, في حديث عبد الله بن عمر في الطبراني وغيره، يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: ولأن أمشي مع أخي في حاجة أحب إلي من أن أعتكف في المسجد هذا شهرا. The Messenger of Allah said, for me to go and help my Muslim brother is more beloved to me than myself making i'tikaf in my masjid for a whole month. You're helping your Muslim brother for a little thing, that is more rewarding than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sitting in his own masjid for a whole month. And you can imagine how much hasanat Rasulullah would have earned if he did this. But he said, helping a Muslim, another person, is more rewarding than that. So, but that is excess time, extra time, extra ability. La tahsi, don't be stingy. Don't say, I know, but I'm not going to help. If I help, he's going to catch up with me. Don't do that. But help as much as you can, but after you take care of yourself. No. Alaikum salam. Hayyakum wa bayya.
What do we do about laziness about laziness and despondency? So you might have a family who are practicing, and you might find a member of the family is just lazy. Okay, so what do you do about this?
whip them, beat the crap out of them. Like Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu anhu. He walks into the masjid. He finds young people sitting. He said, "Ma antum fa'ilun?" قالوا يا أمير المؤمنين ندعو الله. We asking Allah to give us the rizq. He said, "Right where you are. I'll be back in a minute." And they were like, "Oh, Allah has answered our dua. Amir al-Mu'minin is going to the house, Bayt al-Mal, he's going to bring food." But what did he do? He brought a stick. And he closed the doors and he whipped it. And he said, "You sit here and you raise your hands, say Allah, Allah, wa antum ta'lamun anna sama la tamturu dhahaba wa la fidda." You say Allah, Allah, you know, and you know the sky does not rain gold or silver. Get out of the masjid, get a job, earn your living, and be a man. That's how it should be. Now, if you have someone who's saying, I'm a practicing Muslim, mashallah, I don't want to ikhtilat, I don't want to go to the school, whatever office that I go, there's men and women, you know, I don't want to go to school because, you know, that is pure laziness. And that has nothing to do with the deen. It's nothing to do with the deen. And that's one of the things that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that's one of the things that Allah, Messenger, Rasulullah said, make dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove laziness out of you. So if somebody that is, how do you say, somebody who is under you, which means you are his guardian, he's dependent or she's dependent, well, that is where you become an authority figure, and you make sure they do what is necessary. Sometimes laziness will create, you know, how do you say it, perception, and that perception is, don't do any of this because they're haram, you know, just sit here, read the Quran, and then they don't even do Quran, they don't do anything, but they waste their time. So what I will say, people like that, you gotta be stern and tough with them. Wallahu a'lam.
How we can raise the ambition of relatives and friends that will affect on us also?
No.
Can we just repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is how can we raise the ambition of friends and family members? Am I right? Trust me. First, number one, you're not in charge of everyone. You're not in charge of everyone. So if what I'm going to say doesn't work for you, then don't blame yourself. This is a disclaimer statement. The best way to encourage someone to have high ambition is you to be a physical role model, a living role model. You can't make me an ambitious person and make me achieve something that you yourself don't have it. You understand? You don't have it, and you're telling me, like, if I tell my son, go get your PhD, he may say, I'll get it, but not because of you. Because you don't have a PhD yet. Now, you know, so you gotta ask what you already achieved and accomplished and say, you can do this, or you can do this, which is better. I'm just suggesting. So number one, be a role model. Number two, try to encourage him as much as you can. Encourage him, verbal encouragement, not only just wishing for them. Number three, give them, educate them how you did this. How did you do it? Let's say somebody has a master's degree. You know, if you want to convince me, you say, well, it's only 2 years. When you do this, when you do this, this is the number of requirement. This is what you can do. This is the easiest university. So you show me the way. Then I'll, instead of saying, wow, master's, PhD, I would be that. You know, say, oh, I can do it. It's not that difficult. You know, it's not that hard. So when you walk them through, then you will go long way bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the rest make dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them, inshallah. No.
I have another question here. If you just, while you're preparing your own. If the ambition you have is halal, and something that's beneficial for you, but your parents are against it, because they're worried for you, would you still go ahead with it?
See, that's a very tricky question. Very tricky question. Let me tell you this. In life, you have, you had, and you have, and you will have, inshallah, many options, many opportunities and chances. But you only have one parent or two parents. You only have, you can't have, you can't say, I want a new parent. You can't say, I'm gonna overlook these guys, or these guys that passed away, I want a new one. You can't. So one of your high ambitions should be, how can I please my parents? How can I make them happy with me? Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, the wrath of Allah it comes from the wrath of the parent. And the blessings of Allah, the pleasures of Allah, it come from the blessings and the pleasure of the parent. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, indeed he is a loser person who was able to meet his parents and they were not the cause for him entering paradise. So your achievement, this high achievement that you're talking about, high goals that you want, your parents should be there. They should be there. They should be first. This should not be something that you fall on or overflow on. They should be there. And you also have to understand, parents, most of the time, they already have experience. And they want to give you the shortest cut to success. They don't want you, like if you want to come here, if you want to take this step, and you want to get there, and you say, you know what, I want to go all the way and see if there's any better steps than this or any better seats, and then you come around and you end up here. What did you do? You wasted time and effort, and then you end up where your parents already asked you to be, because they already made that mistake. And they want you to achieve success in the shortest way. So when your parents tell you something, trust me, they're not dumb. They're not, unintelligent. They just want the best for you. They may not have all the information, but they want the best. And somehow you will never know this, by the way. You will never know this unless you yourself become a parent. Yes, it was 3 days ago, I had a breakfast with one of the imams, and his little boy, his name's Salman, he walked out of the room, and he's all tired, he's crying, he's 5 years old. And then, and he said, and he jumped. The man who was hosting me just jumped. And he said, "Sir, how are you? Come, Abba, come here. And then he said, subhanAllah, children are ni'mah. But he told me something. He said, my mother told me one thing I never understood, but now I understand. He said, once I got upset, and then I refused to eat my dinner, and I went to bed. He said, my mother came up to my room 2:00 a.m., and she says, son, I can't sleep, please eat. I can't sleep. He said, I couldn't understand, why couldn't she sleep? It is my tummy, it's me who's hungry. Why can't she go to sleep? She just ate her dinner. He said, I couldn't understand it. He said, but where we went, weaning the child, cutting him off from certain products, he said the boy would not sleep because he wants certain type of milk. He said, and he cried, and I went to my bed and said, no milk for you. But he wouldn't. He said, and then the boy went and he slept. He said, but I couldn't sleep, knowing my son went to bed angry. He said, then I said to my wife, let's go feed the boy. Let's go feed the boy. He said, I stood up there in front of my son, on top of my son, and I started crying. Because now I understand when my mother said, I can't sleep while you're angry. So my nasiha to you, your highest goal in this life, one of them must be how to please your parent. And that ambition, trust me, if you please your parent, Allah will give you better than what you missed. I promise you that. I promise, because you did it for the taqwa of Allah, for the fear of Allah. And Allah said, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يجعل له مخرجا ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب. So trust me. And remember, the dua of the parent is one of the dua that the gates are always open for. Now, are we, I think tomorrow they have to go home.
I was going to say that was a good place to stop because it was really beautiful and touching. But I'll leave the session to you if you'd
We've been
like
here
to.
over an hour,
Yes,
20 minutes,
so-
inshallah. Should be.
So I think we'll just call it a night. We'll stop here. Inshallah, the Sheikh also has other commitments, and I'm sure he's still jet lagged from his long trip as well. So Jazakumullah khairan all of you for attending tonight, and barakallahu feekum. And I think there were just so many gems shared tonight by the Sheikh. So many of them. You could just take each one of them and expand it on and in your mind, and basically do to that point about how it applies in your life. Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. Barakallahu feekum. This was a great honor for us. I mean, some of us didn't know you were going to be in town, and then you were here. So it's a pleasure. It's an honor. Heard directly from you, not from, again, there's a difference when you can connect with the person and then you're watching it on YouTube or a video when you're on the stage. If you don't mind, I would just like to make a quick plug as well for the event that's happening before the Islamic Convention at Qatar. We have a great line of speakers that are going to be there, some really big scholars, mashallah, who we don't get to see often as well, who are in town for this. It's the 12th to the 15th of April. 2019, and that's actually this weekend, inshallah, from 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. on both days, and it's going to be at the Qatar Amphitheater. And basically, it's the theme this year is the creation, the very existence of humankind, unseen angels, and the universe itself is a clear reflection of the Creator. So that will be what they'll be speaking about. And the speakers are, like I said, it's a long roster. Sheikh will be there. And Mufti Bank, Sheikh Muhammad Sulaiman, Sheikh Muhammad Yahya who's here locally, and Sheikh Abdul Rahim McCarthy as well. I'm sorry, it's small the font, but so many great lineup of speakers over 2 days. I think that's a great way to spend the weekend with the family, and the weather's getting really, really nice, so definitely prepare yourselves for Qatar. And knowing Qatar, please go early. And don't park too far in, otherwise you'll never get out. So, Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum, subhanallah.
When did you reach? 12 and 13?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, 12th and 13th of April. This Friday and this Saturday.
كيف حالك برادر؟
الله خير ان شاء الله. الله يبارك فيك.
صومالي وحير انجلش وحير خير لكن اجل تبغى فول
ان شاء الله.
اجل فول
بارك معي
والله